Hi, Sumedha. Thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone, we have Sumedha Kocha. She's the co-founder and CEO at Kinderpass, which is based in Singapore and India. They're doing some really good work in the kids space with good 70,000 visitors a month and some 16,000, 17,000 app downloads already. Sumedha, in these times when somehow revenue has taken a hit for most industries, and you can tell us how bad it is for you. Uh, while our expenses, the fixed expenses, have to remain the way it is, a lot of those we can't really cut down on. So what are some of the ways that you might have adopted in your company that to be able to get past this stage peacefully?
Obviously, peacefully, I think, is a misnomer. I think all of us are struggling with it. It's a challenging phase. Our business has two components to it, right? There's a physical product component to it, and there's a digital component. So there's an app which helps us acquire and engage with users. And there are also physical products that we sell to these users. Now, as you can imagine, the physical product is completely shut down because right from the contract manufacturers that we work with to the traditional toy artisans, everything is locked down. Distribution, delivery, nothing can happen. And the app, of course, is a digital component. So in fact, we are seeing a very good engagement rate on the app because people are at home, they are looking for kids activities. So we're dealing with both the components separately. For both the components, I think the primary piece of advice or what we are implementing is we are kind of tackling the important but not urgent section of the tasks, which always gets left out, right? Because in a startup, everything is now, here and now, firefighting, what happened today, reacting to certain things. You're actually taking a step back and saying, okay, between when we launch in December to now, what are the users saying? So we're actually reaching out to users for their feedback, and some of these users are also available. Usually, you would not catch a dad at 10 a.m., but right now we are able to do those interviews. So one is, of course, user research. Second, we are also taking our time in terms of benchmarking for design. So okay, our app is getting certain comments on UI. What else could we do? How else can we improve the user experience? So we're doing a lot of external benchmarking as well. And the third thing is, we are looking at a design overhaul for the app. So in terms of what can we do in future to make the app more user friendly, what can we do to enhance the experience? So a lot of it is to do with the important stuff and strategic stuff, which is not exactly going to impact tomorrow, right? Believe it or not, we're also hiring right now because those were important things which were kind of on the back burner. We are, again, it takes time, right? Recruitment is a long process. You need to hire a little slow. So we're doing that both on the tech side as well as design side. On the physical products, of course, in everything is shut down. What we're trying to do is keep it on a push button readiness mode. So in terms of commercial readiness, in terms of testing with users, in terms of just having the 3D designs, so that once the lockdown is lifted, we will be in a way to hit the road running. So those are the two large components, I would say. And on the app, we're spending more time on driving user engagement because this is also the time when we will have user attention. There are a lot of people who are spending more time on their digital devices. Correct. So how best can we use that in a productive manner? Because we don't even want to go away from the philosophy of the company, which is that children need to learn from all five senses. So we don't want to go overloading on digital devices only. If we're organizing, say, things like a 7-day fun and learn session with different childhood experts who are there on our panel, and these could be from kids yoga to storytelling. Some sessions are for parents, some sessions are for kids. This is again something that we would have probably not given that kind of importance, of not given so much of resources to. But now the team is super pumped up. We're getting very good feedback. There's a lot of buzz getting created. People are sharing it on Instagram. So this is, I think, time that we can take to do brand building, at the same time do a meaningful engagement with users, but in a way that is still relevant to the brand.
Absolutely. And Sumedha, since work from home model, at least in India, we've been following, and I hear that, in Singapore, companies were preparing themselves for this. So do you think by the time the lockdown gets over, we would have adjusted to this so well that probably a lot of this will remain and we might not have to go to the older version? Or do you think people will rush back to the older traditional way of working?
Who knows? See, in terms of efficiency or productivity, it's the opposite because you don't have boundaries, you don't have like a coffee break, you don't have, a lot of these social engagements. I think you tend to not have those boundaries and you tend to overwork. There are businesses, of course, which will need teams to work together. There are companies who work brilliantly with remote, kind of teams. Zapier is one of them. They've always been remote. So they have a global team, but it's always been remote, right? But traditional companies, I don't think it will completely abandon the old model, but I think it's opening their minds that, this is possible. It could work. So maybe people who did not allow their employees to work from home, now they will. Maybe people who were allowing them one day of, work from home, they will probably go into 2 days or 3 days. But I think overall, people will be a little bit more open to flexible working arrangements versus, having a punch card system that, okay, 10 to 7, this is, you need to be in a physical premise to show me that you're creating an output.
Right, absolutely. And Sumedha, what would be your 1 or 2 tips for other founders who might be watching in the same space, e-commerce, education, or in other space also, in terms of how they can battle this time? And there are a lot of companies that are managing with really big sized teams also. So what would be your tip to them?
Right. See, if there are no easy choices in this, if your salary bill is huge and you see that, after say 6 months, you will not be able to pay those salaries, if revenue doesn't come in, you need to plan for that scenario. You need to have those 3 or 4 scenarios mapped out. The best case, of course, is things go back to normal in a month or 2. But what if it doesn't? If there is no revenue for the rest of the year, will you be able to take it? How will you be able to take it? There has to be some sort of a contingency planning. You might have to take a loan. You might have to raise external funding, but we know that funding environment is also kind of tough right now. So plan for the worst. If that means letting go of people, or if that means you yourself taking a salary cut, then it'll have to be tough choices, at least on the fixed costs. There is no way that you can continue to pay your way through it and still everything will be hunky-dory. But the second thing would be just getting creative about different revenue streams. If to keep your mental sanity, meditate. I've started doing it because there's no other way. There's just so much noise out there, and sometimes unwillingly you let that it's not exactly negativity, but you get those uncertainty and you get that stress kind of seeped into every cell of your body without you realizing it. So exercising, keeping fit, healthy mind and body.
And Sumedha, one last question before we sign off. What is the first thing you'll do once the lockdown gets lifted?
See, it's not a complete lockdown here, but I do want to travel to India. In fact, I had a work trip scheduled to India in the beginning of April. So I will book my tickets and come to India. I want to visit my parents, of course. But yeah, I mean, there's so much work stuff lined up in India. My team sits out of there. So yeah, I want to meet my team.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us, Sumedha. It's been wonderful speaking to you like always. Thank you so much.